Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Listeners, here are some more examples for people who are trying to understand Quran through translations. It's important to understand that translations can sometimes be very misleading unless a person has knowledge of the Arabic language. He can completely misunderstand the message of the Quran. So here are some examples to show why it is important to have knowledge of the Arabic language, or at least some knowledge to understand what the message is. For example, in Surah Al-Baqarah, the second surah of the Quran, verse 132, it says, this is the translation of the verse, and Abraham instructed his sons to do the same, and so did Jacob, saying, O my sons, indeed Allah has chosen for you this religion, so do not die except while you are Muslims. So the Quran uses the word Muslimun. Now, just compare this translation with the way it's been translated by Muhammad Asad. He says in his translation, and I quote, and this very thing that Abraham bequeathed unto his children, and so did Jacob, O my children, behold, God has granted you the purest faith. So do not allow death to overtake you ere you have surrendered yourselves unto him. Notice in this translation, there is no mention of the word Muslim. So a person who's reading this translation of Muhammad Asad will not know that the Quran is actually using the word Muslim, because Muslim is a person who is a follower of Islam, and Islam is the name of a religion. So this is very common in Muhammad Asad's translation, that he omits Islam and he omits Muslim, and he uses words like surrender, submission, etc. And the next verse is 133. This is translation of 133. Or were you witnesses when death approached Jacob, when he said to his sons, what will you worship after me? They said, we will worship your God and the God of your fathers, Abraham and Ishmael and Isaac, one God, and we are Muslims, in brackets, in submission to him. And once again, the Quran uses the word Muslimun. But if you look at Muhammad Asad's translation of the same verse, he translates this verse as, and I quote, nay, but you, that is yourselves, O children of Israel, bear witness that when death was approaching Jacob, he said unto his sons, whom will you worship after I'm gone? They answered, we will worship your God, the God of thy forefathers, Abraham and Ishmael and Isaac, the one God, and unto him will we surrender ourselves. Now, this translation of this verse once again omits the word Muslim. There's no English word. It doesn't translate the Arabic Muslimun as Muslims. So he's saying we surrender ourselves. The point that is important to keep in mind is that reading his translation, one would not get the impression that Islam is a separate religion, and Muslims are the people who are separate from those who are not Muslims. So he uses words like submission, surrender, and a reader will not know that the Quran is talking about a particular religion, a particular people who follow that religion. So a lot of times people fall into this error because of the translation. So it's important to have some knowledge, to know what the Arabic word is. You don't know that the Arabic word Muslimun or Muslim or Islam is a reference to a religion or to the people who follow that, you might get the impression that this can apply to anybody. And that is not the meaning of the Quran. So once again, when you're reading translations, please keep in mind that you are just understanding the Quran as it is understood by the translator, which may not be an accurate translation. Wa akhir dawana and alhamdulillah rabbil alamin.